More than anything else, this video is an overview of the overclocking prowess and value of the GTX 660 Ti Power Edition from MSI. So that's the part number right there. Basically, if you're shopping for a GTX 660 Ti, that is the one you want, and I'm about to show you why. Because what's cool about video card reviews is they tell you all kinds of performance numbers and benchmarks and metrics, and they go, yeah, like this card performs like really good, and this one performs really like not quite as good, and you know this one is better than both of them. Like those kinds of things are interesting. And what they often do is they take the card that's being reviewed and they overclock it, and then they put it back onto the graph and compare it against all the other cards. Well, I'm not doing that. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be delivering no stock results for any of the cards in this comparison. I will be delivering only overclocked results. So, the ones that are going to be in my comparison are going to be the, what the heck is this? Alright, Radeon HD 7870 Hawk, okay? Sapphire HD 7950, so this is a reference PCB, but with an aftermarket cooler. Okay, so these are the two Radeon cards on either side of the 660 Ti pricing-wise. I'm going to have a reference GTX 670. I'm going to have a non-reference but non-triple over voltage GTX 660 Ti, and then I'm going to have the 660 Ti Power Edition from MSI. Now what's cool about this comparison is that Kepler video cards, that is anything that's not a Power Edition or a Lightning, there's a Lightning over there somewhere, Lightning, anything that's not one of those does not support overvolting on the GPU. So even if you use an overclocking utility like MSI Afterburner, you will not get any support for overvolting the graphics core. So what that means is your overclocking will be limited right off the bat. So I was really interested to find out what's better, an MSI Power Edition or a $100 or well $90 more video card, a GTX 670, without overvolting support. So first I want to go through what kind of clock speeds we were able to obtain. So the most important ones are the two 660 Ti's. So we've got the Galaxy GC clock, which we were able to get an additional 90 Hz on the core, another 90 megahertz on the core, 100 megahertz on the memory, and we had the fan pinned at 80%. And then on the 660 Power Edition, we maxed out the voltages and the power limit just because we were doing a quick and dirty overclock. I'm not necessarily recommending that for 24/7 use, but we got 200 megahertz on the core, 400 megahertz on the RAM, which really goes a long way to making up for the narrower memory bus compared to a GTX 670. And we got and we had the fan speed pinned at 100% on that one. So let's take a look at some performance numbers here. So let's start with Crysis 2. The first thing that we notice about this game, or well this benchmark, is that the 7950 is a beast overclocker. And when you compare that to something like the max overclock you can get out of a GTX 670 reference card, which is fairly close to the stock clock, well that's very interesting, isn't it? Because the 7950 is slower to start with, but actually they become neck and freaking neck as soon as you overclock them, with the 7950 edging out the 670 in our test. The other interesting thing is check out the 660 Ti Power Edition, which by the way is almost $100 cheaper than a 670 reference. The minimum FPS are right there, maximum FPS are right there. We're talking 5% slower. Or did I say maximum? What I meant to say was average. And it definitely beats out the non-triple over voltage capable card when it is also maximum overclocked, and the 7870 is just not even in the running here, folks. Sorry, I was letting that camera sort of drift there. You can read that if you want. My Skyrim bench really favors the NVIDIA cards, and you can see again here, even though the AMD cards put up a good showing, even, especially when they're overclocked, this looks like a bit of an anomaly here. The 660 Ti Power Edition gets really close to that 670 reference once they're both maximum overclocked. Remember, the 660 Ti Power Edition started out significantly slower than a 670, and then it just blows away in terms of minimum FPS especially, so you can see that it's possible that we are memory bandwidth limited here. Remember that Power Edition card, because of its capability of overvolting the GPU, the memory, and the PLL, was able to get a 4x overclock on the memory versus what we were able to do on the the non-triple overvoltage capable 660 Ti. And again, we see the overclocking capability of the 7950 really shine through. I think if we had a GTX 670 that was capable of overvolting the GPU core, such as like an MSI Power Edition of that one, that we might see a much closer race here. We might be able to squeeze another 10% or another 12% performance out of that 670. And you can see this time the 660 Ti doesn't make up as much headroom or as much ground on the 670, but the maximum overclock of the Power Edition versus the non-Power Edition again helped it to achieve 10% more on minimum FPS and about 10% more on average FPS. So if you're going to spend an extra $10 on a $300 card, which basically amounts to 3%, you might as well get 10% extra performance. So thank you for checking out this little analysis of the performance of the Power Edition versus a non-Power Edition. And bear in mind, guys, I know this is an extremely small cross-section of titles, but given that we're comparing two identical architectured cards, we are looking at real-world performance gains to be had from the extra overclocking headroom on the MSI Power Edition. So thank you for checking out this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.